So we are starting our session. Let me check the sound. Hello. In today's session, we are going to select rolling contact bearing, or there will be a selected bearing. We will verify whether the selected bearing can take care of the loading cycle acting on that bearing. So we have today selection of rolling contact bearing for application with variable load. In last lecture, we have learned the selection of the bearing for constant load. If the load varies in the cycle or load varies on that shaft or on that bearing support, so the reactions will vary. So these reactions will may increase or may decrease the life of your existing bearing. So we are going to check the reliability of selection here. We have problem statement here for today's session. Single row deep groove ball bearing number 6403, escape bearing number 6403 is used to support the shaft of 4-speed automobile gearbox. It is subjected to following loading cycle. So if there is a gear engagement 1, the axial load will be 3250 Newton and the radial load is 4000 Newton. This gear will be engaged for 1% of the usage time. The time engaged is 1% of the usage time. Then gear 2 engagement will be with axial load of 500 Newton and radial load of 2750 Newton with 3% of loading here. So third cycle is with 250 Newton, 2800 radial load, engagement for 21% of the time, and the last load 200 axial 200 Newton axial load, 800 Newton radial load, 75%. It is a balanced time. 100% of your time, say working cycle. So 75% of the time, this load will act. Okay. So this shaft is connected to engine shaft rotating at 1750 RPM. So it may be having clutch engagement arrangement here. So it is engaged directly to the engine shaft rotating at 1750 RPM. If the bearing is subjected to be used for 6000 hours minimum. Now this bearing, that bearing number 6403 should give minimum life of 6000 hours. Determine the reliability of the bearing system here. We are going to determine what is the reliability of the bearing system here. Selected bearing here is 6403. So here the selection is already given. So now this problem is not a design problem. This problem is now analysis problem. So you are going to analyze the selected bearing, whether it satisfies the requirement and what is the reliability of that selection. Let's go to the next slide. Now we will not solve this problem immediately. Let's understand how the problems with variable loadings are analyzed. Okay. So to evaluate this problem, let's go through the theory concept here first, and then we'll go for problem solving. So I am consider here equivalent dynamic load for cyclic loading. How we will calculate their capital P value, that is equivalent dynamic load for cyclic loading. So I am considering here cyclic load. Consider the work cycle is divided in X elements. Whatever is your working cycle, loading cycle is there. You can say it is divided in X parts or X elements. In each part, each element, the equivalent dynamic loads are P1, P2, P3, so on. the last load is Px because there are x elements. Each element has a speed. There is a possibility that the shaft may be rotating at variable speed also. In current problem, it is constant speed, but in a actual application, the shaft may rotate at different speeds. So I am considering different speed elements here, N1, N2, N3, Nx. This is the speed of the shaft in respective loading cycle, respective elemental part. Now, considering this equivalent dynamic load in each part 1, speed in part 1, the life corresponding to the first element of the loading cycle. So, first part we are considering here. So, that life we are say considering as L1. So, this is the L1 life or L10 life for the elemental 1. So, that L1 life can be evaluated by our formula for rated life. L is equal to C upon P raised to small p. Now, this is first element. So, we are writing for L1 and corresponding dynamic load for element 1. P will depend upon the type of roller. So, it may be your rolling element may be ball or maybe a spherical roller. So, this value will be either 3 or 10 by 3. Now, this value will be always in million revolution. So, therefore, we are calculating the life consumed in 1 revolution. Suppose if my shaft rotates here at only by 1 revolution. So, in the first element, X element, how much life is consumed? I can apply P1 and apply N1 speed. I can get a speed of, I can get a life of L1. So, that means million revolution life I will get. But how much life I will get for 1 revolution? Out of that 1 revolution life consumed will be 1 upon L1, this value. So, this is in million revolution. So, I want to in per revolution. So, I have to divide by that million revolution 1 by 10, 6 here. So, this value, say there was a reciprocal form, the correction you can make. This value is P1 upon C raised to P because it is 1 upon L1. So, it's a copy paste error. So, you can make this is a P1 upon C raised to small p into 1 upon 10 raised to 6 because we want to convert it into 1 revolution. So, considering this life, consider the first element of loading cycle consists of N1 revolution. Your loading cycle or work cycle may take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or it can take only fraction of seconds. So, in that number of time, if first loading cycle completes N1 revolution, then life consumed for first element. This is the life consumed for single revolution. And if you have N1 revolutions for first element, then life consumed for first element will be multiplication of this value 1 upon L1 into N1. So, here I have done that correction, but here you have to make this correction. So, N1 into P1 raised to P upon 10 raised to 6 upon C raised to P. Similarly, the life consumed for second element, that is considering P2 as a dynamic load and N2 as the speed of the shaft. So, you can write down the life consumed in the second element for N2 revolution, that is N2 into P2 raised to P upon 10 raised to 6 upon C raised to P. So, similarly, there will be X element, so you can add. So, therefore, life consumed for complete loading cycle, one cycle, one work cycle. So, you can add this fraction, loading, that is life consumed for first element, life consumed for second element, and life consumed for X element. So, this can be added, and this equation is, say, equation A. Now, in the second slide, we are extending this thing. So, we are considering equivalent load P for entire loading cycle. Now, URI element has different dynamic load. So, I am now considering equivalent dynamic load, overall equivalent dynamic load for complete loading cycle. So let's say that value is P. Then the life consumed for the entire work life cycle with this PE load will be equal to N into PE raised to P upon 10 raised to 6 upon C raised to P. And N is the number of revolutions required to complete that cycle. It may happen that cycle may be completed in fraction of revolution also, or it may take more than fraction of revolution there. So where N is equal to the elemental revolution, that is first element N1, second element N2, and so on till X element Nx. So this is equation B. So from equation A and B, the loading cycle there is also mentioned for complete cycle, and this is the life consumed for one loading cycle. So A and B are same. So you can equate A and B. So when you equate A and B, and this denominator is common there, so it will go out. So only numerator is left out. So numerator of equation A, this is the numerator of equation A, and this is the numerator of equation B. They should be equal when the denominator is equal and life is same. So if we solve for equivalent load here, PE, for complete loading cycle, so we get the pth root of this product N1 P1 NP raised to P product for all elements divided by the total revolutions required to complete the loading cycle. So that is summation of N is there. So this can be written in terms of summation also. So P is equal to square pth root of summation of NP raised to P. So N will vary from 1 to X or 1 to N. Summation of N, the bottom denominator is summation of N. Sometimes there may be chances your loading cycle will vary with the load acting on the bearing will vary with the time. The way we accelerate the bike. So acceleration is with respect to time. So the speed increases, so the torque will change. So load will change. So sometimes this equivalent dynamic load can be calculated by replacing the summation by integration concept. By replacing the summation concept here by integration concept. But for that, you should know dynamic load value, P value, in terms of the time, the variation with respect to time, and the limit should be 0 to T. And T is the time required for completing that loading cycle, complete load cycle or complete work cycle. So we will have P is equal to 1 upon N, summation P raised to integration P raised to P into Dn. That is the variable element, N1 element, N2 element, or so on, raised to 1 upon P. So either you can evaluate P by this relation, or by this relation, or by this relation. When we have to calculate equivalent dynamic force for cyclic loading. So cyclic load may consist of two elements, 3 elements, 4 elements, depending upon the requirement. So in our current problem, if we go back to the problem statement here, we have how many elements? We have 4 elements in the loading cycle here. First element, second element, third element, and fourth element. Let's analyze this problem and solve it here. So let's go to the solution now. Okay. So first I am taking the first element. Consider the first element in loading cycle, that is part 1. So we are evaluating now equivalent dynamic load P1 value. That is the dynamic load for the element 1 loading cycle. Out of loading cycle consists of 4 parts here. So part 1 we are considering. So in that part 1, in the table it is given Fr is equal to 4000 Newton, Fa is equal to 3250 Newton, and the time is 1% of the loading cycle. You have been already given the escape bearing 6403. So we want to refer the data for 6403. So let's go and check the data of bearing 6403. is a deep groove ball bearing having designation 6403. This is the 6403. This is on page number 4.15. That is page number is 4.15. PSG page 4.15. So if you refer the data here, so it is the first row itself here. It's the smallest bearing in the 64 category. 6403 having shaft diameter around 17 mm. Then D1 minimum, D minimum, D max. This I have explained. Width of the bearing is 17 mm. So this is I explained in the last session the dimension of the bearing. What we required for selection here is the C0 value and C value. So static capacity here is 1280 kgf and dynamic capacity here is 1800 kgf. The maximum speed permissible is 10,000 rpm and our application speed is 1750 rpm. So all these conditions are satisfied here. Now let's check by selecting this bearing which is already used in that application, what is the reliability of our selection. So to evaluate reliability, let's calculate equivalent dynamic load in various conditions here. So we are taking 1280 kgf and 1800 kgf, these values for the 6403 in the design calculation. Okay, so let's come back to the design calculation here. In the design calculation, we have taken 12080 kgf as a static dynamic capacity. So convert into Newton by multiplying by approximate value of 10. So it is 12800 Newton. Then design dynamic load, dynamic capacity of that bearing 1800 kgf, that is 1800 means 18,000 Newton. With this value, now we are analyzing the first element. So the ratio of FA by FR by first element, that is 3250 upon 4000. This ratio is 0.8125. At the same time, the ratio of FA by C0. C0 is 12800 here. So FA 3250 upon this value. This ratio gives you the value of FA by C0 0.2539. Now to check the value of E and the value of X and Y, you have to refer PSG 4.4. So let's go and evaluate this value of X and Y. Here it is written, but see how these values are coming here. So we are going with FA by FR 0.81 and FA by C0 0.25. Please remember this value. Now I am opening that XY factor table, PSG table from page number 4.4 from the PSG. Now we have FA by C0 value. FA by C0 value was around 0.25. This value was approximately around 0.25. So for this row, you have to check now whether to use this FA by FR less than E or FA by FR greater than E. So for a value of FA by C0 0.25, the corresponding E value is 0.37. And our FA by FR value is 0.81. Now from this table it seems that FA by FR is greater than E value. So FA by FR is 0.8 and E value is 0.37. So we have to refer X value as 0.56 and Y value for this ratio as 1.2. So by selecting this value, we will be calculating the dynamic load P1 here. Please go back to the design calculation again. So by selecting these values, I have written these values here. FA by C0 approximately 0.25, the E value was 0.37, and from this observation, what we found that FA by FR is greater than E. So the corresponding value of X is 0.56 and Y is 1.2, which is taken from PSG 4.4 page. Now, since no data is mentioned regarding the service condition, so I am assuming the service factor as 1. So equivalent dynamic load for this cycle, that is P1. The formula is P is equal to CS into X VFR plus YFA. This value of P1 here is CS is 1, X is 0.56 from this relation. Race rotation factor, since shaft is rotating, race rotation factor is 1. Radial load 4000 Newton plus 1 Y value is 1.2 and axial load is 3250. So we get the calculation of P1. If you do this calculation, P1 value will be 6140 Newton. This is the dynamic load acting in the element 1. So how long it is acting? It is acting for 1% of the loading cycle. Now, if I consider my speed of rotation here is 1750 RPM. So if I consider 1 minute time duration, so in that 1 minute time duration, 1% of the loading cycle. So how many revolutions this element will last? So I am calculating that. So number of revolutions required for completing element 1 in 1 minute cycle, that is n upon 60. So number of revolutions per minute I am considering here, per second here. Then out of that per second time, how many percentage time? It is 1%. So 1 upon 100 I have taken. So 1 upon 100 into 1750 upon 60. So this element will be performed in 1 second around 0.291 revolution. So this is the time or number of revolutions required to complete element 1 cycle, the element 1 part out of the total loading cycle. Similarly, you have to evaluate P2, N2, P3, N3, and P4, N3. So in the next slides, I am just showing this data. Okay. So now we are considering second element, that is part 2. We are considering equivalent dynamic load P2. FR value from the table 2750. FA value given in the problem table 500 Newton. Loading time 3% of the loading cycle. Bearing is same. Bearing, because it is acting on same shaft, so the dynamic capacity, loading capacity will be unchanged. Then FA by FR ratio for this part, it is now 0.1818 and FA by C0 value is 0.039. So this value 0.039 is very close to the table value of 0.04. So for this value, E value is 0.24. So this is available in PAG 4.4. I will show again so that you can understand. So you can come here. Here. We have FA by C0 value approximately around 0.04. FA by C0 value is in this row. So the corresponding E value is 0.24. Then FA by FR is 0.18. So FA by FR is less than E value. So we have to refer this column. X is equal to 1 and Y is equal to 0. So if we go back to the presentation again. For this value, FA by FR is less than E. So the corresponding X and Y values are X is 1, Y is equal to 0. Means what? There is no effect of this axial load on this cycle here. So that's why Y is equal to 0 here. So the load is basically radial load. So you can calculate the dynamic load here in that cycle element 2. P2 is equal to 1 into 1 into 2750 plus 0 into 500. CS is equal to taken 1. So we get P2 is equal to 2750 Newton. Similarly, number of revolutions required to complete this element 2 will be, actually here it is 3 by 100. So 3 by 100 into n by 60 because it is 3% of the loading cycle. So 3 by 100 into 1750 upon 60. So it required around 0.873 revolutions. It's a fractional revolution is required for completing this loading. Then similarly, we have done the calculation for element 3. We are considering third element of loading cycle, having radial load 2800, axial load 250 Newton, and the time duration for this cycle element is 21%. So we got P naught and C will remain same for 6403. FA by FR value is now very, very small, that is 0.089, and FA by C naught value is around 0.195. Now, in the table, the minimum value available is 0.025 FA by C naught, and this value is very close to 0.025. So I am considering the E value corresponding to this approximate value here. That is, E value there in the table is 0.22. Now, if I compare FA by FR and this E value here, so FA by FR again is less than E. So we have left side column where X is equal to 1 and Y is equal to 0. So again, it is coming from PHG 4.4. I will not show it again because I have demonstrated 2 times. So you can refer in the PHG and you can write down. So similarly, here the effect of this axial load on dynamic load will be minimum. So we have the dynamic load for third element, that is P3 is equal to again 2800 Newton. That is basically a radial load. Number of revolutions required to complete this element 3 in the loading cycle, because the time duration is 21%, so 21% of the n by 60. So 21 divided by 100, your shaft of the shaft speed is 1750 upon 60. So this element will be completed in 6.111 revolution. So it requires around 6.11 revolution. Similarly, the fourth element, the last element of the loading cycle, we have radial load 800 Newton, axial load 200 Newton, and this is lasting for remaining, that is 75% of your loading cycle. So in this loading cycle, your C naught and C is same for 6403. FA by FR value, that is your FA by FR value 200 by 800, it is 0.25. FA by C naught value very, very small, 0.0156. Again, the tabulated value is available only onward 0.025. So considering this is very close to 0.025, again we have E is equal to around 0.26. So if we compare here, this value FA by FR value, actually FA by FR is actually greater than 1 here. So I have made wrong decision here. Let me check the table. Then there is a small correction you need to do there. FA by FR is 0.35. E value is 0.37. We have to take that value as E value as 0.37. No, here. It is less than 0.22. So E will be further small because this is in decreasing order. So E value will be in decreasing order. Let's come back to the design. So maybe I have made wrong selection here. Actually, in this case, we are finding FA by FR is greater than E. So X will be 0.56 and Y may be of the order of 2 here. So what will be happening? So Y will be of the order of 2, so 0.56. So 0.56 into 800 and 2 into 200. So this will become 400 and this will become again 400. So P4 value will come around 800 only, maybe 756 here, maybe 856 it will come. So you can make this correction in your write-up. So whatever the file I have uploaded, so you can make this correction and use that. You have to change this sign to greater than. X value will be 0.56 and Y value will be there around 2. So this value will come something around 700 to 900 value. But now we have selected P4 800, so we'll proceed with this. Number of revolutions required for the 75% of the loading cycle for given RPM is 21.87 revolutions. So we have calculated the individual dynamic load here. Then we will club and find out the overall dynamic load. Okay, so in the next slide, we are calculating overall equivalent dynamic load here. So we are calculating the summation n here. Summation n is equal to n1 plus n2 plus n3 plus n4 because there are only 4th elements. So the summation n is equal to here 0.29 plus 0.873 plus 6.111 plus 21.87. So this is equal to 29.15 revolutions. So your loading cycle will be completed within 29.15 revolution. Then you can write down PE formula here. So in this formula, we can put the value of N1, P1, N2, P2, NX, PX, and P value here. Since it is a ball bearing, deep groove ball bearing, P value will be 3. So we have taken P value 3. N1 is 0.291. P1 is 6140. 6140 raised to 3. 0.873 into 2750 raised to 3. 6.111 280 raised to 3. 21.87 into, instead of 800, you have to correct this to the correct value of load, but that will be also around 800 Newton. So 800 raised to 3 upon 29.15, that is summation. This summation 29.15. This value we have calculated. So you will get the equivalent load acting throughout the cycle. So hypothetical load acting throughout the cycle will be of 1993.2 Newton. We have seen the minimum load is 200 Newton, maximum load is of the order of 4000 Newton, but equivalent load now will be 1993.2 Newton. So with this load, let's calculate the rated life of your bearing. So we have dynamic capacity of the bearing given here is 1800 kgf, that is 18,000 Newton. So I am assuming this is a dynamic capacity with as a maximum dynamic capacity, and what is the maximum L10 life for that? So let's say assume C is equal to design value capital C. So we have the formula for L10. L10 is equal to C by P raised to small p. So I am putting the value of P here as 18,000 Newton. P value as the equivalent load calculated for the entire loading cycle, that is 1993.2 in the previous slide, raised to 3. So you will get the rated life here at 736.48 million revolutions. So this is the life with 90% reliability. We are getting the rated life of 90% reliability, 736.48 million revolutions. Now, while selecting that bearing, we are expecting bearing life should be around 6,000 hours. We should get that bearing, we can replace that bearing after 6,000 hours of working. So the life associated with 6,000 hours in terms of million revolution, I am converting this expected life 60 NLH upon 10 to 6. N is the speed of the shaft is 1750 RPM, and LH required expected is 6,000 hours. So you required expected life in terms of million revolution is 630 million revolution. You require 736.48 million revolution with 90% you will get. Now you want a life of 630, means less than this. So it means that your reliability will be greater than 90%. If this life expected is lesser than the rated life, then your reliability will be greater than 90%. If this life is greater than this value, then your reliability will be less than 90%. So from this just observation, we can say the reliability of this bearing is at this moment greater than 90%. But how much? That we are calculating in the next slide. So we are calculating in the next slide here. So for that we are using the relation given in the previous session, reliability and probability of survival of bearing. So the relation between actual life and reliability other than 90%. So this is the actual life for reliability other than 90%, and this is the rated life for reliability of 90%. So this relation I have given you, log 1 upon R, where R is the reliability or probability of survival, upon log of 1 upon R90, that is the probability of survival of 90% of the bearing, raised to 1 upon 1 by B. B is normally for ball bearing, it is taken as 1.17. So putting these values from the previous calculation, we are expecting life of 630 million revolution. Rated life for that bearing is 736.48 for current loading condition. So log 1 upon R, R is in this case is unknown, we are going to evaluate. Log 1 upon R90, R90 is nothing but 90% reliability means probability of survival is 0.9, 0.9. So raised to 1 upon B, B value is 1.17. So from this calculation, if you do this calculation properly, I may make correction error also, you can check this calculation. So log of 1 upon R is equal to 0.08776. Now this 1 upon R value, if you remove this log with remove this log, so e raised to this value, so e raised to 0.08 comes as 1.017. And now this is a fraction of 1 upon R is equal to 1.09. So you get R fraction is equal to, that is the probability of survival is 0.9159. Now you can express this reliability or probability of survival in terms of percentage. So in terms of percentage, the reliability of this bearing will be 91.59. In the previous slide itself, I have told just by observing the actual life required and the rated life available for that bearing, you can tell whether reliability is greater than or smaller than 90%. So since this value, that is expected life, is less than rated life, reliability will be greater than 90%. So we are getting here reliability of 91.59%. 91.59%. So this way we can solve the problem with variable loading and determine or analyze the bearing. Now this problem I have shown to analysis purpose, but suppose you get a reliability here, say, if you get a reliability here, say of 80% or 85%, and you've been asked to design select a different bearing now. You've been asked to select a different bearing, then you have to follow entire procedure of calculation of P1, P2, P3, P4 for each element separately. Again do the calculation of PE. Then put that value of required reliability. Suppose your required reliability is 92% required or 95% required. Then you calculate the L10 required here. Then this becomes unknown. So once you know this value R, then L10 will be unknown. So from that L10 you can calculate your expected load. Then you can cross check select a bearing to meet that dynamic capacity from the table. So it is not necessarily you have to select bearing from deep groove table. You can select bearing from other grooves also. So this process remains same. That's why again I have mentioned the bearing selection catalog in this presentation also. Suppose if you want to improve this life, say probability of survival from 91.5% to say 96%, then you have to follow entire process again for selection of different bearing from manufacturer's catalog. So your process remains same here. So I have completed my problem. If you have any query, you can ask. You can put in chat box, as well as you can ask by unmuting your microphone. I'm checking the attendance, whether it's properly. Okay, it's recorded properly. If you have query, we will go back to the calculation required here. So sometimes these problems are asked not to evaluate the reliability, but sometimes it is asked to evaluate the reliability, and sometimes the reliability is given in the problem, in this problem, and you have been asked to select the bearing. This value will be given, and you have to select the bearing there. If you have any query, please ask in the chat box.